Hi, everybody. Welcome to the OnStage Black Theater podcast. And we are here to celebrate Thanksgiving a little bit late, but we're here to talk about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, particularly the Broadway performances. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm theater critic Rachel Wagner, and Marc Bonanni is here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And Jacklyn Collier is here.
Yes, and Rachel, neither one of us were at the parade, but we are going to be in New York City together soon, so I'm excited for you to get here.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It was terrible planning on my part to plan a trip the week after Thanksgiving. Not a good idea, but it's a special family trip. So it's gonna be a little bit different, but I'm gonna try to fit as many shows as I can while
Do you have
I'm
your
there.
lineup yet? Do you have tickets bought?
Yeah, I actually am going to be reviewing shows for the first time on Broadway, which is
Oh.
very exciting. Yeah, but I'm going to see Wonderful World, the new Louis Armstrong. I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
reviewing that. I'm going to be reviewing Elf, the revival, and then we'll also be reviewing Drag, the off Broadway.
Yeah.
That will be really fun. And then we are seeing the Rockettes, Christmas Spectacular. And I mean, that's really the whole reason we're going, is because it's all the whole trip with me and my cousins and my aunts. We're all there in memory of my grandma, who we all loved so much, and she loved the Rockettes, and so it's kind of in memory of her. We're doing this trip. So
Nice.
should be really fun. Should be very, very fun. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to talk about the parade. And it's really the main reason I look forward to the parade is because of the Broadway performances. That's it's really the only time of the year that you get to see Broadway on television, aside from the Tony Awards, is it the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And I don't know, what do you think, Jax? Is that something you look forward to with the parade?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that I was thinking this year especially, I mean, of course, it's the magic of live theater, but I really wish there would be other opportunities for people who can't make it here to see it on TV, or just a few more opportunities so that we can entice people to see it.
Yeah.
Like, because I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, we'll talk about it more in detail when we're watching, but people have been telling me see Hell's Kitchen, but then I saw the performance and I was like, oh, I really want to see that. I got to get my ticket. So I
Yeah.
think that it would be really important and really good for the theater to do that.
Yeah, I wish there were more opportunities, but it is, in some ways I think it's even better than the Tony Awards, because I don't know, it's just a little less stuffy. I
Yeah.
think, it's to get to see them out doing their thing. It's a lot of fun. Is this something you look forward to as far as the parade, Marc?
Yeah, for sure. For me though, before I see a show, I don't like to look at anything. I don't like to hear anything. I don't like to
Oh,
know.
okay.
So for me, it's like if I've seen the show, I'm like, yeah, let's watch it. But if I haven't, I'm like leaving the room and covering my ears um but this year I have seen everything except for Redwood, which hasn't started yet. I did watch that number, which breaks my rules for this podcast, but
Was
whatever.
that so? That's what Idina was singing?
She was singing a cut, a minute cut of a new song from her new musical Redwood that opens in the spring.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that. But a little history of the parade. So it started in 1924, was the first year. And evidently there used to be this thing called Ragamuffin Day. That was the thing. It was kind of similar to trick or treating, where the kids would go out and they would uh, they would beg for treats and for other things. And then with the Great Depression and sort of everything, people didn't like it, the begging, and so they wanted something else for this, instead of this ragamuffin thing on Thanksgiving Day. And so they started this parade, and it, I guess, really took off, and was very popular, and they kept doing it, and it's been done almost every year except for 1942 to 1944 with World War II, and then it was the 2021 was altered. That was close to the public, and it was broadcast only in the Herald Square area, and a lot fewer participants, but it still did technically take place. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. That it has, I mean, it's such a legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I remember when I was younger, I would just always like really not know how to put together an outfit and wouldn't really care about it. And my family would be like, "Oh, you look like a ragamuffin," and I didn't
Oh,
know
really?
what it was. Yeah, like, they would say it affectionately,
Yeah.
but I never knew that was the origin of ragamuffin. I just was like, "Oh, it's someone who's like a little bit unkept," but that's not
That's a word that needs to come back in the lexicon.
100%.
Ragamuffin. I'm going to start using that more.
Yeah.
Well, the first balloon entered the parade in 1934, which I think is interesting, and the broadcast on radio was from 1932 to 1941, and then it started again in 1945 through 1951. And let's see here, what else?
Parade via radio just seems,
Yeah.
I guess you do what you got to do, but
Yeah.
and there's a big balloon coming down the street. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
great.
Well, and it's yeah, I guess it was all they knew, so they didn't have any anything else. And let's see here. Marching bands had not been a part of the parade since the beginning. It wasn't until 1958 when the first celebrity performances were added and Benny Goodman's sextet joined the parade. And it says technical and logistical difficulties marred many of the early attempts to perform live music on moving stages. In 1964 is when they started doing the lip syncing. The Rockettes have been part of every single year of the parade since
32
since 1957 as the
57.
yeah, and it says here the Rockettes are a classic performance, having performed annually since 1957 as the last pre-parade act to perform, followed by a commercial break, as are the cheerleaders and dancers. And then the parade always concludes with the arrival of Santa Claus to the ring, except for 1932 when Santa led the parade, usually begins the parade. And anyway, there's lots of interesting stuff if you like that kind of thing.
Well, and thank goodness they're lip singing, because there's already enough, well, especially in this parade with the rain, there was a lot of technical things to contend with.
Yeah.
I read that Kelly Clarkson said that she actually sang live, and I'm like, oh, tell me more.
Yeah.
I mean, the Outsiders sure sound like they were singing live during their set.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure that they have it pre-recorded, but some of them probably do still sing just to keep I don't know, just to keep it in their head, I would think. But and just to entertain the people they are actually there. But I guess it first televised in 1939. And then
it was televised in 1939.
Yeah,
Who had television?
It says it was first televised locally in New York City in 1939 as an experimental broadcast on NBC W2XBS. No television stations broadcast the parade in 1940 or 41. The local broadcasts resumed when the parade returned in 1945. The parade began its network television appearances on CBS in 1948, the year that major regular television programming began. So it's been since basically the beginning of network television, which is interesting. And then NBC has been the official broadcaster since 1953. As of 2024, NBC pays Macy's $20 million per year for the license to be the parade's official broadcaster. And the parade earns a substantial profit for the network, with ad buys averaging $900,000 per 30-second commercial in 2023, a fee comparable to Sunday Night Football, bringing a gross revenue of $52 million, which is kind of interesting. Because you think about it, almost everybody has it on.
Yeah.
So it would be a pretty profitable time
Which
for
is,
them.
I mean, again, amazing why more shows don't, you know, I guess they're invited to perform. They don't ask to perform. The Macy's chooses who performs.
Yeah.
Macy's and NBC, I think, conjointly decide
Yeah.
who. But I don't know if they've done it past years, not that I remember, but they showed clips of them, of the officials telling the casts that they've been selected to perform, which I think was a fun little,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
fun.
thing.
Yeah. It says here it's a joint decision between Macy's and NBC, which the broadcasters parade. Let's see. The goal is to represent the widest range of Broadway shows in a given season, offering something for everyone. And then other considerations: will a number work on the street without lighting or sets? Is the production okay with the risk to the performers and their costumes may get soaked in heavy rains or blown around in heavy winds? Just about all of them are more than willing to participate given the opportunity for the biggest and best exposure of the year. Yeah. So anyway, that's just some of the history if y'all think that's interesting. And I did make note of, I think, everything that, even if it wasn't the official shows, just like anything that was Broadway adjacent. I mean, we even started out the parade with Billy Porter singing quote unquote "Ease on Down the Road," which was kind of fun.
Nice.
I liked that. And then it was raining, which was challenging. I felt for everybody involved.
Yes.
I mean, at least it's better that than windy, because they've had problems in the past with the balloons.
Oh yeah. My
Yeah.
wife has worked the parade
Oh,
a number of
really?
years, and windy and rainy days are always a challenge.
What has she
Yeah.
done for the parade?
Well, she's in wardrobe for shows, so anytime, the
Oh,
show she's working on has performed, I know Something Rotten, she performed. She never did she does the Radio City Christmas Spectacular every year. But she doesn't do the parade with the Rockettes. But yeah, for her Broadway show, she's done it probably 3 or 4 times now.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fun. So you've been down to see the parade live
I have
then?
never been down to see the
Oh, you
parade.
never have?
No,
Oh.
she gets up at like 4 a.m. and I'm not doing that. Lugging the kids down at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
freezing cold. No, thank you.
Well, I feel like it would be almost more. I'm sure it's fun, the experience of it all, but since you are just in your one spot, it's not this. You don't get the same. It almost seems like it'd be almost better to watch on TV,
Yeah,
you
yeah, for
know.
sure.
But have you ever been, Jax, down to see?
No, I used to live on the Upper West Side where they blow up the balloons, so we would see them blowing up the balloons. But yeah, like I can say like I'm with Mark in the fact that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be in one little spot. It's gonna be so crowded. And they do such a good job of filming it that I think you can really take it in a lot better if you're watching it on TV. But I do think it's an iconic thing to do that is on my bucket list, kind of like being in Times Square for New
I
Year's
was
Eve.
just gonna say it's like Times Square New Year's Eve. I've never done it. It's like I always think one day I'll do it, but it's like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
It would be so physically uncomfortable. It's like to have the memory of it would be cool, but the actual experience would not be pleasurable.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's something, if you don't do it in your 20s, then no, it's just not gonna
Yep.
happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the first performance was the Hell's Kitchen medley. And I personally thought this was better than their Tony performance, because the Tonys, they had different singers who weren't part of the production singing.
Yeah,
Uh,
they had Alicia Keys and
yeah, and
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, yeah. And I didn't mind it, but like, I don't know, I just felt like I got a better idea of the show from this than I did their Tony performance. And you've seen the show, Mark. What did you think about this?
I thought they did a great job. I thought they sold it really well. I think there's a definite art and science to picking a number out of a show, or numbers sometimes if you do a little medley that really sell your show. And I feel like, not every show knows how to choose a number. And I thought, actually, we'll talk about it, but I think every show this year did pretty well
Yeah.
in including, yeah, Hell's Kitchen. It it didn't give me a sense of story. I feel like I don't know. For me personally, it wasn't like, "Ooh, I want to see that show again," as opposed to just like, "Oh yeah, that's fun." Um,
Yeah. What
it's
did you
just
think,
me.
Jax, of it?
So I've had lots of people have recommended Hell's Kitchen to me, and I like Alicia Keys. Like I was interested in seeing it, but it wasn't super on my radar. And then seeing this, I was like, oh, this looks like it'd be really great. Very high energy performers,
Yeah.
like really leaving it all out on the dance floor. And yes, I definitely would agree with Mark as someone who doesn't know the story. I literally have no idea what the story is, but I didn't care because it was enough to intrigue me to be like, oh, I'm gonna have a good time watching this.
Yeah, it really sold the dancing, I think, well. And it was smart that they did the medley because you get a little taste of all the different songs. And then when they end up with the piano, with the grand piano, I felt kind of bad. I'm like, oh, that rain is not good for the piano. But still, I felt like it gave a really overall feel of what kind of experience that you're gonna have. And they were so smart at the end to be like, and we got the national tour starting next year. So all the people watching would be like,
Yeah,
oh,
they just announced that 2 days ago. I wonder
uh,
if that was a coincidence.
yeah. That
Hmm.
was very, very smart, I thought. They
Yeah,
did.
they did really sell the dancing though. You're right. My wife, who has not seen the show yet, she was like, "Oh, they really
Yeah,
dance in this show." It's like,
yeah,
yeah,
they did the hip hop dancing, the piano, and then kind of ending with Concrete Jungle. That was very effective, I think. And so that was a win. And then we got a little bit of the Rockettes interviewing two of them, and they were fun, like just throughout the whole you got little bits of, if anybody was on the fence, not that I don't know why you would be, but about going to see the spectacular, I think
I mean,
this
it doesn't get
parade.
more Christmassy and joyful than the
Yeah,
Rockettes Christmas Spectacular.
yeah, absolutely. And so then we have Death Becomes Her, and this is, I'd be very curious what you all thought about this. You have Megan Hilty and Jennifer Simard introducing the number, and they picked the song "If You Want Perfection" from with Michelle Williams with her costume. And I just thought that was a strange choice. Like, I don't know, I would think that they would want to do a song that had all three of our ladies singing instead of just this. I just thought that was a weird choice to have our leads introducing and have it just be Michelle's song. It was strange.
Yeah, I think that's the opening number. If you that they performed is the opening number.
Oh,
If
is it?
I've seen the show, if my memory serves, there is no number where all three of them perform. I think if you wanted the two leads to perform, you would just be getting those two singing and no ensemble, no large
Oh.
scale number. So I think if you want a parade worthy number, you had to do one of Michelle's songs because that's when the ensemble is really present. And
Oh.
and a number that you could sort of pluck out that you don't need any kind of scene before or scene after to understand what's going on. I think um
I didn't
I don't know
realize
that there
that.
was a better number that they could have performed, honestly. I mean, I've only seen it once, but uh I think it sounded nice. I think
Huh.
in that number she really just sort of stands there and sings while the ensemble dances around her, and I think she actually gave more during the parade performance than she did on stage when I saw it, but
Oh, interesting.
neither here
I
nor
mean, because
there,
I
I
just love
guess.
Megan Hilty so much. So I was just like, oh, I don't get to hear her sing.
It
But I
was a
guess
great move that they did that little bit before. I know that they got laughs in my house, that little
mhm.
exchange.
That's interesting that there's no real ensemble scenes with them. Or like a that
Yeah, it's
I
really just those two
huh.
together. Again, any song that would be sort of worthy of performing
Interesting.
on
I
it.
might get to see it next week. I requested the house seats, and we'll
Oh,
see if I get in.
It's a
But
lot of fun. Big, lots of camp. It's just very silly, very
that
yeah.
was my I was like, okay, and I love camp. I love like the costumes, like the whole campiness of it. I was like, oh, I would probably have fun with this. It didn't make me, it wasn't like with Hell's Kitchen where I was like, oh, I have to see this though. It was like, oh yeah, this would be really fun, but it didn't draw me in the way Hell's
Yeah,
Kitchen.
I felt like I wrote down the dancing didn't pop much to me. It was just
Yeah,
kind
well,
of,
it's just sort of that opening number of just like it's a taste. It's just supposed to be a little bit of intrigue, but not like bam, here we are.
yeah. Huh,
So
interesting.
yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
well, and
her,
the costumes they wore in at the performance weren't quite the costumes that they do in the opening. They're all in these skin tight bodysuits with lots of nude illusion. So I'm sure that
Oh,
they deemed it not appropriate for. So you can see they're all wearing their costumes, but they all have like a piece on
yes.
over it, which sort of looks
uh,
mismatched. It's because yeah, they sort of like had to censor the costumes a little bit.
mm.
A little
So
tidbit for you.
then the outsiders, they interviewed two of the stars, Sky Lakota and Emma Pittman. And then we get Tulsa 67. And I thought this was extremely effective. I mean, not that they need to sell more tickets, but it was very, very, very catchy. And the dancing was great. I thought it was like, okay, I get why this is so successful.
Yeah, this felt like a very quintessential, like perfect number to showcase a show, whether it's at the Tonys, the parade. It's like there was so much energy and joy behind it. And I thought lots of storytelling elements that I was like, oh, okay, like I can track what this is, but not so much that I feel like, sometimes when you watch a movie trailer and you're like, I've seen the whole thing. It was like it was a nice taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this again was the opening number of the show. Tulsa
Oh,
67
is
is the
it?
opening number, and I thought they brilliantly sold their show, and
Yes.
the fact that they were dancing so full out and in the rain seemed so dangerous a little bit, in a good and exciting way,
Yeah.
even though it rains in the show, so they know all about dancing
Yeah,
in
that's what I was gonna
being
say.
wet. So I thought they really. I thought they were the first performance in a long time that matched the energy of the parade and the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I mean, I looked into possibly going to the Outsiders because they weren't doing any press tickets now, but it was crazy. Like it was like $450 for the cheapest seats. No
It's
way.
insane right now.
Yeah.
Some of these newer shows, look at the prices for Othello starring Jake Gyllenhaal
Oh my gosh.
and who else is in it? Denzel Washington. And
Oh,
it's like yeah, last row of the Mez is like $400.
that's
See, that's tricky because do I want to see Denzel's Iago like more than you can imagine? Do I care about, or I mean his Othello? Yes. Do I care about Jake Gyllenhaal's Iago? No.
Yeah, you
Like,
couldn't pay me $400 to sit through Shakespeare. I'll tell you that much
oh,
for free.
really? I mean, I would love to see that, but yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I paid I think it was just a little over $200 to see Merrily Roll Along. I mean, so that's crazy, man. I mean, to see for that kind of price for a show that's been there for over a year. I mean, it's a problem because like they they wonder why people aren't going to some of these shows so much. I mean, I think people don't even think of it as an option for a night of entertainment. I think sometimes
But
so
somebody's buying these
expensive.
seats. So the
I know.
grosses are up. The grosses keep
Are
getting
they?
bigger and bigger. So
Yeah,
until as much as I love Broadway, until the bottom falls out, nothing will change.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but it's just kind of sad because shows have to be such a hit in order to, and it still takes so long for these shows, even with these high prices, to be profitable. That's the crazy thing, because everything in New York is just so expensive. I
Yep.
mean, I guess they get used to it when you live there. Thinks everything being so expensive.
Or it crushes
But
you slowly until you
yeah,
eventually move away.
yeah,
Oh God.
yeah.
how long have you lived here, Mark?
Since 2003?
Oh, so you're okay. You're like well in.
So I missed that this song that Idina Menzel sings was from Redwood, and I was just like, "What is this song?" I thought it was bizarre how they auto-tuned her. Like, why would you do that to Idina Menzel
You
of
think
all
she was
people?
auto-tuned?
Yeah, I thought it sounded very electronic for
Well, I
her.
think the music sounded very electronic. I was thinking, I wonder how this sounds with an actual orchestra. Hopefully, this isn't actually how it sounds
I hope not.
in the
I
theater.
I was like, what is this song? I didn't like it at all. It was not for me.
I think Idina Menzel, obviously, she's so talented, so charismatic. When she was talking beforehand, um, about the show, I was like, oh no, this sounds boring. Like she's talking about the beauty of nature, and I'm like, I honestly like
Yeah, I must have
nature.
been
It's
going to the
wonderful. It's beautiful. It's not actually what's intriguing me to see a musical. But she's
I
great. I
missed
mean,
that
so
interview with her. I guess I must have been going to the bathroom or something. Because yeah, I didn't, or I didn't write it down. I didn't know that I missed that part that she said that. So she says that it's a lot of nature, the show, you said?
isn't it about like going into nature, Mark? I don't know much about it, but she's
I
like,
mean,
it's
again, I've tried to
experience.
sort of
Oh
if I
yeah.
know it's coming to Broadway, I know I'm going to see it, so I just put blinders on. But I mean, the artwork is her among like actual literal redwood trees, so I guess it's not a metaphor, and she really works with trees. I just kept thinking the whole time how the song is like breaking free, and it's like at the Bronx Zoo, and I just kept thinking of all these animals breaking out of their cages and running amok in New York City.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what an odd choice for a
That's
zoo
true.
to
That's a
have
good
break
point.
free
Yeah, it was
as
the
their
Bronx Zoo
message.
float. And
Yeah.
and I just did not like this song. It was not for me. So that was not a
I
very
mean,
good impression.
I didn't mind. I mean, it's not my favorite type of song. I'm not, power ballads are lovely, but not typically my go-to favorite types of numbers. But I mean, she gave it the Idina Menzel flair.
What did you think, Jax? Did you like it?
Um, I it didn't make me want to see the show any more than I wanted to see the show when I heard that it was happening. But it didn't make me be like, oh, I don't like that, so I don't want to see it. Like my level of interest, it's exactly the same. I mean, and of course, like Idina Menzel, her star power is out of this world. I think it's interesting because as we're talking about who gets invited to perform, I don't think that's a song that felt like it needed to be there. But of course, it's Idina Menzel, and especially with her being, who she is, and also just with the Wicked movie coming out in the 20th anniversary, it makes sense that she's even more in the zeitgeist even than she usually is. So it
Yeah.
made sense that she was performing, but that song didn't really add anything for me.
Yeah. I just did not like
I mean,
it.
there's also, it's not up yet, so they probably were limited in what songs they could
Yeah.
perform, and I don't know that they were trying to sell the show as much as like the performances
That she was going to be in
of
it.
that they're like the musical. It wasn't the cast of Redwood, including Idina Menzel.
Right.
It was just,
Yeah.
let's put her on a float and have her sing something belty.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And this isn't exactly Broadway, but I tell you who sold themselves so well, I thought, was a Riverdance.
Yeah.
Riverdance 30. That was amazing. I mean, because I haven't thought about Riverdance in forever, and seeing them, I would buy a ticket to them. That was really impressive.
I
Yeah.
think about Riverdance probably more than the average person.
I've never seen Riverdance.
I know. I mean,
I've never seen any of the videos, the pro shots. I mean, it's
have you never seen
I
even
know
that?
that, that exists, but
Yeah. I mean, I've been to Celtic Women before, but I've never done anything river dancey, but I'm like, if they come to Salt Lake, I'm going. Yeah. It was really
it's like
good. I thought
Stomp.
that
It's like
was
one of those shows, like, it's always going to be an experience. And
yeah. I thought they did a great job selling the experience, and just it was really fun. And then we have Cynthia Rivio interviewed. And the big takeaway from this is she said she's okay with people singing along in the theater.
Look, she had to. Look, she had to say that. First of all, I just want to say, like, and Rachel, you and I podcast about Wicked. I am, as someone who wasn't even that excited about the movie and wasn't particularly invested in Cynthia Erivo or Ariana Grande before this, I am so in for all the press. I'm in for the movie. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's been
can't
fun.
stop watching them be theater kids together. Like, I cannot stop. I love them now. And she had to say that, or she was gonna seem like a Grinch. But you know that she's like, oh, and not just her. It's like I think everyone else wants people in the theater to be able to have the experience where they can actually hear it and listen to it. And then when we're able to have it at home, sing along,
Yeah.
or watchings and viewings that they're doing where it's meant to sing along.
Like I wouldn't mind, because I am it, if you annoy me in a audience setting, theater or film, then you are being really annoying, because I am extremely hard to distract, or like I'm just that's just not my my weakness. So if but I can tell you the one time that I was annoyed was when I saw Beetlejuice on Broadway, paying the big bucks. Two teenagers in front of me sang along to almost the entire thing, and I kept scowling at them, but it didn't seem to. I should have just said something, but it was so annoying. No, that's what I'm saying. If like if you annoy me, then you're really annoying, because I just don't get annoyed that much. Like it doesn't really bother me, but like I would never do it because I know it bothers other people. And but I guess if they're being real quiet about it, and just sort of humming, then maybe, but like I don't know.
No. I'm so jealous of your ability to tune out, because I hear like, I'm like, Jane, shut up! I will murder your whole family. I mean, I'm so, and I have, trying to watch a movie. I have two small children is pretty much impossible. I'm in this house. I'm always just like, shut up, everyone. So yeah, no. That's why I go to Alamo Draft House. Shout out to Alamo. Absolutely no singing, no talking, no texting, no nothing allowed, or you get kicked out of the theater. That's where I go.
Yeah, they even have don't they have like a little button you can press if some people are,
you can tell on people, you can rat them out. I stopped going to the movie theaters for like 15 years. I saw the first or the second Hunger Games movie, and people were talking, and I said, I'm never going to the theater again. And then I went, and then Alamo Draft House came to New York, and I haven't gone anywhere else. But no, you want to sing, get out of my, nope. You go to a sing along, or you shut up. I'll show you what it's like. I haven't seen Wicked the movie yet, though.
Oh, you haven't?
No, because my 4-year-old is not going to sit through it, and it's going to be too scary. So we'd have to like get her a babysitter, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I ain't got time to go to the movie theaters.
4 is probably too young. Yeah, it's not
the
really
older one's
very
seen
scary,
Wicked on Broadway already, so she's good to go.
I think that it's not even as much the scary, because there really isn't really anything scary in it, but
she gets scared over stupid stuff.
But it's more just the pacing, I think, wouldn't entertain her. It's just it would be too slow for somebody.
We're not doing that.
Yeah. We did have Lea Salonga on the Sesame Street float. That was fun.
Did you see that they mislabeled a young dancer as Lea Salonga?
Oh, they did?
So there was if there was a young dancer, and they're like, Lea Salonga, and I was like, no, unless my TV is really doing something weird, I don't think that's her. That was a little awkward, but
she's a legend, of course.
Yeah,
incredible. And then we have I thought the Disney float was so strange. This is not really Broadway, but they had all on the float. They had all human characters except for Miguel, who is a human character, was a face character. I was like, that was so strange. Why would you have like one of the human characters be a face character and the rest human? I
didn't see it. Did he have his big sombrero on? Maybe the rain, they let it slide because of the rain.
Maybe. It's like, it's always so strange to me the way Disney, like, what is it that makes them decide to do face characters for, like, say, the Incredibles, but then they do for like the princesses, they do human characters. Like, it's such a strange thing. I don't know, very weird. But
I would love
anyway,
to be in a meeting where they're discussing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like algorithms and focus groups
Yeah.
and
It's very weird. But that was a very strange float, I thought. I don't think they got their 200,000 worth uh each float on that one. And then they had the Rockettes, their red dresses and doing Christmas Baby Please Come Home. They had a great kick line, and that of course is iconic. Very fun. And then Jennifer Hudson doing Jingle Bell, sort of a Jingle Bells song thing, which was fun.
I mean, Jennifer Hudson, come on, always just like I mean everything about her. I also
Yeah.
look, I know I'm gonna love her. I was so impressed with two dancers in particular, the umbrella men, the seamless way they were like handing off the umbrella. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's a lot of pressure. Look, I know performing is a lot of pressure, and I know that it's something that was absolutely choreographed in, but it does add another little element of like, okay, this is another thing to remember. And I thought I
Yeah.
was just very impressed with my umbrella men.
That's true. They were good. And it was a fun way to kind of end the or finish off the parade. I enjoyed seeing her. And one thing I thought that was impressive is just the variety of musicians that they had. I don't follow popular music like at all, except for show tunes. And so but I thought they had like country, they had hip hop, they had R&B, they had, it seemed like a lot of different kinds of musicians.
Also different cultures
Yeah,
represented, which I loved. We
that's
had,
true.
the Bollywood number, there was the Native American traditional
Yeah,
number. I really enjoyed that.
yeah, that's true. So what would you say is the highlight for you of the parade? What would you say, Mark?
I mean, in terms of what we were talking about, I thought uh, Outsiders really
Yeah,
sold sold it to the best of their ability. I was that number excited me and wanted
yeah,
made me want to see the show again.
yeah, I agree.
Um,
What do you think? Do you agree, Jax?
I love that number. I would say that Hell's Kitchen just appealed to me more personally. And then something that wasn't a number, but I just loved because I love to see not like a Schadenfreude way when things go wrong, but when Warren Treaty was about to perform, and they're amazing, but the sound wasn't working, and then Hoda and Savannah just had to like vamp and be like, "It's okay." I just love when little things like that aren't going to hurt anybody, and it's. I mean, I'm sure it's someone's fault, but it's no one's fault that we're seeing them and they're embarrassed. It's just like this real live thing that's
yeah,
happening.
that show must go on, make it work in the
Yeah.
moment, put up or shut up. It's yeah,
And it
feel
was
that.
nice that they had a pretty inclusive, it sounds weird to say, but the balloons, to have several anime balloons. I thought, oh, okay. They had One Piece, they had Dragon Ball Z, it was like, okay, this is
Well, One
not
Piece has like
just,
what 1100 episodes or something. It said what in the
yes.
what?
Yes.
I'm not connected to the anime world
Same.
at all,
Yeah.
but
It's
I was
true.
like,
It's
I'm
been going
sorry,
on
what was
since,
that number? 1100 episodes?
yeah. It's been going on
Holy
since
crap.
the 90s. Yeah, which is wild.
Wow. I just heard about the Netflix show, the live action one. I was that was my introduction. Anyway,
Yeah.
neither here nor there.
Yeah, it's wild. I've seen a couple of the One Piece movies, but I've never seen the show. And but yeah, it's been going on forever. And the people who are into it, they know every little detail about all those scenes. It's incredible. It's incredible. But I thought it was just nice that we're getting like, it wasn't just your typical Spider-Man and kind of a thing. It was a little bit different. So I liked that. But yeah, probably. I mean, of course, the Rockettes are always amazing. The Outsiders was the highlight, and then Riverdance. I was very impressed with that. So there we go. Let us know if you're listening what you thought of the parade performances. This was the first year that they haven't had it on CBS and NBC, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, they usually
And
double the
yeah,
performances because CBS has their own slate, but
yeah. So that was interesting. Well, let us know what you thought of the parade and the parade performances. Which one was your favorite in the comments? We'd love to hear. And thank you so much, Marc, for coming on and doing this. And if people want to follow you and your content, how do they do that?
Thank you so much for having me. You can follow me you can go to YouTube at Broadway by Ghostlight. I do a weekly episode of Broadway Jeopardy with 26 Broadway musical themed clues every single Thursday, and we have a lot of fun over there.
Yeah. And Jax, how do people follow you?
Jacklyn Collier on Instagram.
And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, and you can read my reviews at rachelsreviewstheater.com, including my upcoming Broadway trip reviews. So you definitely want to check that out. And make sure you check out all of our content on Stage Blog and all our great articles and our playlist for all of our episodes, which are a ton of fun. Love for you to check those out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.